Today's guest conversation is with the widely popular vintage ball player of Banana Ball's newest team, the Indianapolis Clowns, Mr. Fisher Polydoroff. Here's episode 91 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Fisher, top of the afternoon to you, sir.
Top of the afternoon, Ross. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm delighted to be here. I respect what you do. I'm fully prepared to answer any and all questions today relating to anything banana ball, vintage baseball, and it's a pleasure to meet you, my man.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'll say this, dude. Oh, your videos, like I want you to understand. Okay, I say my age just to give context to the conversation. I'm 45, played baseball, blah blah blah. Okay, but I'm just scrolling through some videos. You know how we do it on social media, and I come across your stuff a couple months back, and I'm like, it gave me goosebumps. I'm like, that swing looks so effortless and easy. The old wood in this. I'm like, that's what baseball is supposed to look like. And I had no idea who I was dealing with. Oh, Fisher's got a call. He'll be back on. But I'll pause here. He's a popular man, folks. Are you back, Fisher?
I gotta put my phone on do not disturb. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. That's what happens with these podcasts. But hey, so as you're doing that, I'm going through these videos and I see it, and like in your head, you know how you want it to feel and flow as a baseball player when it's going well. And I watched your videos and I was like, that's baseball right there.
Yeah.
What I mean, thank you for that. You're impacting 45-year-old men that just want to see the game done in a simple way. But I'm so interested in this conversation because you are known as a Renaissance man. I gotta know, like, number one, you're 20 years old, and where did this spirit and this heart come from?
Man, I really have always been interested in baseball history and vintage music, vintage fashion. Ever since I was a kid, I've always loved. I've loved 50s and 60s and 70s music since I was about 12 years old. I first watched Back to the Future, which is actually an 80s movie, but the song Earth Angel was my introduction to 50s music. So it wasn't a grandfather or grandmother that that played ball, and almost me and my little brother are the only ball players in our family. And I just really was drawn to the vintage, baseball Americana, like the national pastime, and the older players. My favorite player growing up was Hannes Wagner,
Really?
who died like 50 years actually to the date before I was born.
Wow.
Which is it's crazy. And now that I play a vintage baseball player with the Savannah Bananas organization and the new Indianapolis Clowns team, which I had a hat at 10 years old. I opened up a Christmas present from my dad. He gave me a couple of Negro League hats that Christmas. The Clowns, the New York Black Yankees, who they actually played back in the 50s, and the other one was the Pittsburgh Crawfors. And I was fascinated with Negro League baseball, with vintage baseball. I was really a big fan of the 40s and 50s. So whenever I tried out this year for Banana Ball and I burned my 3 years of college eligibility, the Bananas were popping off. They were on my For You page all the time, and I was like, there couldn't have been something more. It seems like it's tailor made for me and my personality. I've always been a clown. Like in my high school, I was awarded the superlatives best dressed because I was wearing suits or stuff like this to school every single day. And I was also the class clown of my high school, which had 2,000 people. I went to a prestigious 6A high school in Texas. Really good baseball program, Keller.
Yep, man. I'll tell you what. You are speaking my language, my friend. Okay, so I would like to consider myself a throwback. The music, absolutely. And I grew up. I'm a 50s, 60s, 70s, Sirius XM, 60s Gold, 70s on 7. Like, man, that's my life. Okay, so I love what I'm hearing. I love what I'm hearing. But the where I want to start with you is this, man. You were a good baseball player we'll call it in the normal sense, right? Like Weatherford College, you burned your eligibility to go and do the to do the banana ball experience. And this is where I want to lead you is I believe that we're experiencing, which I think is amazing. I think banana ball is awesome. I used to be I used to be, I didn't know what to think maybe 2 years ago. And now I'm like, anybody that's not on board with this stuff is crazy because it's beautiful for the game.
It really is.
But I want to say this, like, do you were at Weatherford College, great school, but you are pursuing the banana ball experience over maybe what the traditional route would be of, hey, I want to get drafted, I want to go play and on to the next level. What brought you to that point?
It was that's a really good question. I don't think anybody's really asked me specifically like that. And it's a really fascinating story because my mom had introduced me to the Savannah Bananas like whenever they were first starting to pop off. Like I remembered stilts, and I'd seen Ziggy do his bat tricks, and I had a general idea of what they were. I didn't know what they stood for and what the fans first mentality really meant. Because why would I care if I was only trying to pursue? I'm a baseball purist. I'm a traditionalist. I love the game of baseball, and I mean, I honestly, I had a decent shot to get drafted, not a sure shot, which is why I ended up burning my college eligibility. But I was a third and second baseman who could hit the hell out of the ball, and my defense was there. Like I was a strong defender, had a pretty good arm. I wasn't a great defender, and I probably wouldn't have like excelled at any sort of minor league level. But I can still swing it, and I'm looking forward to showing people what I can do with my bat. Not only that rhymed right there, but the comedy is going to be hilarious this year. I've been studying. Ever since the clowns were announced, I've obviously been a huge fan of barnstorming shows, and I was familiar with the clowns growing up, and there was a lot of baseball clowns that used to do routines during the game, white guys back in it all started with Al Schott, who was a baseball clown, and he would perform. He was a major leaguer, and he would perform as a clown and do fun, just entertain the fans while the game was going on. Max Patkin, Bobo Nickerson were guys that they would go up to the plate, and they would coach in the third base box, and they would do funny stints and acts. So I'm gonna be incorporating a lot of comedy, which is just the dream job for me. To be listed as a pitcher, an extra hitter, and an entertainment player, because I'm a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. Like that is everything I ever wanted. And to go back to your question, why would I give it up now? I was planning on being just Fisher Polydoroff in Banana Ball, the 19-year-old, the youngest player ever signed. I called it that I was going to be the youngest player ever signed, and I knew I was going to be so undeniable. But I didn't have any clue until 3 days before the tryout. And it's funny. I called my summer ball coach. His name's Brett Wellman, and he coached me in the summer of 2022. Whenever I was 16 years old, and I winded up like an old timey pitcher.
Yeah.
And I was throwing knuckleballs down in a summer ball game. And I called him up, and I was like, "Man, I'm gonna go." He already knew about the whole Savannah Bananas thing because it started earlier in the playing in my season where I wasn't playing. We had two all conference guys returning at second and third base, and our shortstop was just really talented infield. But I rode Pine for about a month and a half of the season. I come in and I go, I think it was like, I want to say it was 13 for 21 with it was like something like 10 RBIs and 2 home runs. And then our second baseman came back from his ankle injury, and I was out of the lineup.
No.
So yeah, it wasn't the best playing experience, but I loved Weatherford. The culture there was awesome. The coaches loved me, and they knew that, oh man, like Fisher got screwed kind of by coming here playing time wise, because you had our third baseman and second baseman throughout the first 2 months of a season is a lot of games. They both led the country in bags, which is a crazy advanced baseball stat. So tearing the cover off the ball, I rode Pine, and the entire time I was thinking, how can I take my talents, the fact that I can play 12 instruments and speak 3 languages, and Banana Ball was just all over my For You page. I was like, I need to get in this now.
Wow.
And 3 days before the tryout, called up Brett Wellman. I was like, I think I got to do like a vintage baseball player. Like I got to wind up like I'm an old timey baseball player.
Wow.
I'm a knuckleballer. It makes too much sense. I've always been able to do impressions, and I've always, my teammates like love it whenever I do, current MLB player impressions, because I study the game. I've always studied baseball
Love
history.
it. Dude, oh, I'm fascinated with it because I love the style. I love the style. It
Thank
means
you.
a lot to me. Like I'm the guy that watches in the off season Burns's
Ken
baseball, the
Burns,
history
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Ken Burns, and I watch
those
it
are the best.
every year. I watch it because I feel like I learned something new. But so I love the style. Is That's smart. I want to say this. That's smart being at your age to say banana ball combines more of my talents.
Yeah,
I'm squeezing more out of myself than just
exactly.
being a baseball player. Is that kind of what was your ultimate decider? Is like I can go do more than I'm good at more than just baseball.
Exactly. It really was. I remember there were so many signs from God that I needed to do this.
Mm,
There were just like crazy instances that I
mm.
remember. Like me randomly craving a snow cone and going to a snow cone shop that was hidden from the street view, and there being the giant banana car. A guy named Steve Braithwaite drives this thing around the country. I met him and I was like, hey, can I come back in 45 minutes? I'm going to try to make a music video to become a Savannah Banana. And he was like, "Of course, dude. Like, come back and yeah." Well, he's from South Africa. He was like, "Yeah, really, really cool dude. Love that dude." And then I was on the bus writing the opening lines of my song "I Want to Be a Savannah Banana," which I have not put out yet. I was on the bus
Ooh.
writing, and the second line is "I want to be a Savannah Banana," Georgia on my mind, like Ray Charles on piano.
Ooh.
And as soon as I wrote that line, I was sitting on the team bus. We were going to New Mexico, and I look up at the TV screen, and the trailer for Ray Charles' 2005 movie comes on.
No
As soon
way.
as I put pen to paper, and I was in that moment, I was like, I documented it. I started recording my face and like looking at the TV screen. It was awesome. Like I was like, this is not coincidence right here. This is what I was made to do,
Wow.
and it's just so reassuring. Whenever Jesse announces the Indianapolis Clowns, and I go back in my old hat, closet, and I
Yeah.
look at that clown's hat, and I it's so funny because the only picture I have of it's from Christmas morning, and it's blurry, which like makes it better because like it's not AI,
That's
and I
right.
didn't just Photoshop a hat. But I have other pictures from that. I'm wearing a Heat Misers shirt. I have other pictures from that Christmas, and man, it really just feels like I was destined to do this at this exact time, and all the signs along the way were just reassuring me that I could make it happen.
I'm a fan. I don't give a crap what that means. I don't care where like
Thank you.
I'm a fan. Like and I know it you know what's fun is I talked with Christian Davis of the Tailgaters
Uh,
and recently and I love I'm sitting here talking to baseball guys. You're a baseball guy, but you're more than that. Just like he's more than that. Just like we're
sure.
all more than being baseball guys. But
Yeah.
you know what I feel like when I'm talking to you guys?
Hmm.
I feel like I'm talking to someone that has true joy in their heart. And I feel like
Yeah.
there's when you're involved in the game of baseball and there's true joy, to me, I'm like, that's what success with baseball is. It's not
Uh huh.
how much money I can make. It's not how far can I go. It's how long can I play this game with just true joy in my heart? Do you have true joy in your heart playing this game the way you're playing it right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so ecstatic to play this year for the Clowns. We have Jackie Bradley Jr., who I grew up
Oh, yeah.
watching, and I'm a Red Sox fan. Born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, moved to Greenville, South Carolina as a
Nice.
kid, and it's crazy that all the stars are aligning. And I'm super grateful to Jesse Cole and Emily for their vision to bring this thing to life. I think this is exactly what baseball needs. And to answer your question and the best way possible, banana ball takes the pressure off the game. It reminds kids that
Man.
you don't have to go 4 for 4 to have fun. Like this game is just it's meant to be entertainment. It always was. and along the lines of salaries and having guys that get paid way more than other guys, it's so competitive. And I think it's so funny and it's so interesting that I was a couple months ago, I was looking at like the Yankees Instagram, and there were so many people just hating on Anthony Volpe
Yes.
for not performing the way that they want him to, and I bet that absolutely crushes a man. Like I
Wow.
would not have wanted to go through that pressure now, seeing what social media has done for athletes in a negative space. Like
Good point.
so, you will not see Jackson Olsen getting hazed for having a two strikeout game. Like the players are, he's out there doing like trick plays, and even if he fails one, like he's a really good ball player. But he goes out there and he has fun, and he's all smiles. Like people, that's why people love the Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball, and it's only expanding. And I'm so blessed to be a part of it.
Wow. Talking with Fisher, old Knuckles, Polydoroff of the Indianapolis Clowns on episode 91 of the Baseball Forward podcast today. Old Knuckles, I got to know, man. Hey, I know this. Growing up, man, I've thrown more knuckleballs than I can probably count. And maybe I can count on one hand where I was like, whoa, that didn't move. So, all right, old Knuckles, like, what's the key to throwing a good knuckleball? Like, and I want you to break it down. Like, what is the key to throwing a good knuckleball? What are the points that I got to focus on?
I'm gonna get a baseball real quick.
Go get it, man.
I got a lot of vintage gloves in my studio.
Let's go.
This one is this is an old first base mitt, and the pocket is like almost non-existent. It's literally like an oven mitt.
Looks like a pancake.
Yeah,
I love it.
Cool.
I bet it smells good, man.
I know it does. It smells like just patina. The knuckleball grip that I use is R.A. Dickey's.
Oh yeah.
I grew up a huge Dickey fan because I had the chance that my dad worked with him at the clothing brand Dickies. They signed a couple major leaguers, and of course R.A. Dickey had to be a part of that. And I actually reached out to his son recently, and he saw my video on the Indianapolis Clowns reel. So I hope to have him out to a game at some point. Yes. But his grip was 2 fingers behind the horseshoe of the baseball he talks about. Okay. And the knuckleball is thrown like a fastball. A lot of younger guys try to push it with their arms, but it's thrown with the same arm action. You're basically taking the ball and you want to kind of stop your hand, and I push out with these 2 fingers, my pointer and middle finger.
Okay.
So that it kind of, it really just stops the ball, and the physics behind it, it's super fascinating. On its that's the reason why it's unpredictable is because on the way to its plate, it's just the air is just moving it around, and it creates like a vortex behind the ball. So I've been throwing the knuckleball since I was 9 years old. Dickey taught it to me whenever he was with the Blue Jays in 2014 at spring training, and I remember being so fascinated. We were throwing with a Toronto Blue Jays team store ball that I think my dad had like just bought so we could play catch with it, and I still have it, and it has his fingernail imprints on the ball, and I remember being so mesmerized because we were only probably 40 feet away while Dickey was teaching me initially, and it was just literally going straight into my glove like that, and I had never seen something that cool in my life before. That's why I mean that was 11 years ago, and I still remember that like a good 2 minutes of that catch play.
Do you, because trying to catch a knuckleball is like a needle in a haystack, dude. It's hard and it's a little bit scary. So when you were throwing it, like if you're able to throw it, like is there someone that can catch that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how hard I'm throwing it, but there's a lot of my catchers have had. I'll put it this way. This is a funny way. On almost all the teams I've ever been on, every single person, if I ask them to catch my knuckleball, they will not do it. Yeah, like I have to have like a designated person. The thing is, I never pitched in high school or college. College I did for 1 inning. and I closed the game out on we were winning 10-9. I came in the 10th inning, and I threw 9 knuckleballs and 1 fastball and closed out the game for us. My team went absolutely berserk.
Yeah.
Because I had 2 doubles that game. This was in the stretch that I was playing at Weatherford last year. It was awesome.
Man.
And my Weatherford coaches have been so supportive of me. They loved it. When I told them I was going for banana ball, they were like, "That's awesome. That's made for you." Like, because at JUCO, it was the number 1 JUCO in the nation.
Yep.
And those guys, they put an emphasis on winning, but they're trying to get guys out of there, whether it be the MLB draft, whether it be D3, D2, D1, mid major, banana ball. And for me, it was awesome. I a lot of my catchers, they just hate catching. Like, if I'm throwing a full intensity, I would say Phil Necro used to say, like, a good knuckleball can really strike out an MLB hitter at like 58, 62 miles an hour.
Jeez.
And it's you really don't have to throw it hard. That's why so many guys can. That's why some of the best knuckleballers have been in their prime in the late 40s. Like, it's crazy. Like, most of them don't even start getting good at it until they're 36. But I've been throwing it since I was, 9 years old. Like, Phil Necro grew up throwing it as a kid, and he made a Hall of Fame career out of it. So I'm looking forward to bringing the knuckleball and the banana ball.
Hey, I want to go just to watch the knuckleball, but I want to see like the high socks, the vintage cleats. I love looking at the videos that you put out with like the old Adidas cleats. I'm like, look at this stuff. Like, this is, I feel like I'm watching you. I know you like time traveler type stuff. Talk to me about the relationship between your style and, like, I'm trying, like, I see you as like a piece of pie, and like, okay, baseball is a quarter of it, and then style, and then music, and then like you're all these different parts. Are they all equal? Is there all passion behind all the different moving parts? Like, tell me more about just like the Renaissance stuff.
Yeah. I would say my repertoire of tricks up my sleeve. I grew up fascinated with music. I started playing like a couple of plastic instruments whenever I was really young, like 7 years old probably. And then the magic phase came. It's really all been phases, and I've been out on a quest my entire life, basically. Before I even knew I was out on a quest to really find a mastery in almost every single field of art that I could master. And I grew up a really, really prodigious soccer player. I played with like a select team since I was probably six years old. And then I started playing baseball. I was kind of late into baseball. I think it was 8 years old. And I was completely enamored with the historical aspect of the game. But I joined band. A lot of people, one of my coaches told me I'm a band kid that learned how to hit a baseball. And that really fits, because I've always been fascinated with the saxophone. I started playing before I joined band in 6th grade. And I wasn't in band in high school because I was the top uncommitted hitter in the nation at the time. My junior year before I committed to Weatherford. And yeah, it's crazy. I whenever I try to learn something, I spend so much time. Like, I love getting the question, like, how do you have time for all this? Like, I don't play video games. Like, I don't doom scroll on my phone. I'm a huge like anti-video games guy, because I used to love them, and then my freshman year of high school, I quit video games completely because I had spent so much money on MLB The Show and Red Dead Redemption and Fortnite. It was crazy. MLB The Show probably helped me get a little bit of my baseball. It probably helped me retain my baseball history knowledge from whenever I was reading those books as a kid, because I was using those players, and I love it. But I saved up money my sophomore year, and I bought a tenor saxophone because I really missed playing an instrument. Like, I used to play in 7th and 8th grade, and then my freshman year I completely stopped. So sophomore year I bought that. I started creating Christmas music too, and my high school, like, they loved my music, my albums. The principal put it on like the lunch loudspeaker. My In 2022 and 2023 they used one of my Christmas songs for the get to class bell.
That's awesome.
And yeah, that like I just love creating music. I have like over 50 songs. Just put out another one
Wow.
that comes out, a music video that comes out Friday, which I love producing music videos too.
Ooh, where can, in just in the middle of this podcast, episode 91 of the Baseball Forward podcast, talk with old Knuckles Fisher, Polydoroff of the Indianapolis Clowns. Where can people go find that stuff? Like, you're I know you're on Instagram, on TikTok, like, because you have a video coming out. That's pretty exciting news.
I do. My Instagram is Fisher Polydoroff. Same with TikTok. FisherPolydoroff. I know, really long last name, but it'll be worth it. I swears. And then YouTube is same, Fisher Polydoroff. I'm releasing a music video with a really popular content creator named Dr. Parkinson. He has 1.5 million followers on TikTok and 200K on Instagram. And he's a Renaissance man, a guy that's been accused of time traveling, as is myself. Yeah, we wrote a song and made a music video, so that comes out Friday. But yeah, going back to the repertoire, it's fascinating. I've always just been interested in diversifying my repertoire and constantly learning new instruments. I have various instruments in my studio right here, and I'm a music. I'm always listening to music. Anywhere from 1929 to 1989 is what I tell people, and coincidentally enough, that's the year that the Indianapolis Clowns were running, which is just crazy. Go figure, my music taste is from that time period.
Yeah. And you know what? It's such a I don't want to say commitment, but like, I always got I have a twin brother, and he always bags on me for the music I used to listen to growing up, and it would be kind of probably this type of stuff you're listening to. And I'm like, I feel like it's in you. You have to have an appreciation, almost like a romanticism with certain, like, baseball is a romantic game. Music is the same way. I'm wondering, like, do you ever, you're so, the word I think I would describe you as, and you're such a throwback, but you're so present with what you're doing, like engulfed with what you're doing, these different things. Do you ever stop to think and say, where do I want to go with it all? Or am I just doing the best I can with what I have in the moment? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm a very calculated person. I always have content planned days in advance. I always have ideas planned months in advance. And I run off of a calendar of creating and documenting my ideas. I'm very methodical with with all that. I constantly have I have really big things in the works at all times, and I think these things will just continue to happen as I've manifested in the past. Like, for instance, in a couple months, I randomly I speak fluent Portuguese, and I have for about 3 or 4 years now, and it's crazy to me. So I grew up watching this guy named, you're probably familiar with Dante Bichette.
Oh, of course.
So his two sons, Bo and Dante Jr., I've always been big fans of. And Dante Jr. got drafted by the Yankees, and he played with the Rockies and the Nationals minor league system. And they're both playing for the Brazilian World Baseball Classic team. So I grew up a huge Dante Bichette Jr. fan. Bo Bichette, major leaguer, but I didn't want to hop on the bandwagon. Dante Jr. was always my favorite brother. I loved his swing. Anyways, we're making a music video. I wrote a song with him, and we're making a music video for the World Baseball Classic Brazilian team. Dude. And it's gonna be huge. I have a really good idea for what I want to do with my life, in terms of like really big things, like, going on American Idol. Like, I'm calling it now. Like, I want to sing. I want to sing in Latin American countries because I love Mexican music. I love Brazilian music. and then Caribbean, like a lot of different styles of new age, like reggaeton and rap and like old stuff like guaguancó and salsa and bachata and speaking Spanish and Portuguese has opened up so many opportunities in my life.
Mm, mm. I think of the people you surround yourself with. I can't imagine how special the people who raised you are. The people in your immediate circle. Do you Are you intentional with who you're around? Do you understand that like it's not weird to me, like this is as unique as it gets, and I'm so fired up. I hope every kid watching and listening and that follows you realizes how cool it is to be yourself and to pursue what you want to pursue. But to the people that you surround yourself with, like, tell me about them. Like, are they like you? Or what does that look like?
That's funny. I often I was thinking about this the other day. I've always kind of felt like an enigma in my life. You know, my brother my brother speaks Japanese fluently and
Dang.
extremely talented. He was in band too. He plays the clarinet, and now I have a couple clarinets behind me, and it's crazy because I mean I've always just considered myself like Fisher Polydoroff. Like I've grown up in Keller, Texas. Like I'm a baseball player that can do all these talents, and now that I have you know a notoriety and a little bit of nobility, people are starting to see who I am. I think I've always been on a quest. I've never, I don't think I'll ever try to be famous necessarily. I'm just trying to show as many people like, you know, how cool I am because I love myself. I love the
That's
fact that I've
awesome.
already accumulated all these talents and you know, but my language retention skills are not going anywhere, and so are my instruments. So I'm really just trying to show the world, like, you know, whether it's playing the saxophone out to the mound and nailing a solo, like now that Banana Ball has given me this, it would be easy to assume that there, you know, I have people in my circle that, you know, are as diverse and you know, I don't know, cultured and well rounded. But those people will they'll find me in my life. I'm only 20 years old. I
Yes.
want to surround myself with, you know, people that you know can one of my big goals that I was mentioning earlier. I didn't tell you what one of them was, but I want to create a doo-wop group of me and three other guys, and we go
Wow.
around singing 1950s and 60s classics. Because before British rock took over the entire world, you know, the
Yes.
Beatles and the Rolling Stones,
Yep.
there were African American groups in the 19 and started in 1954, the early 1950s, and it lasted until like about early 60s. But they sang a cappella and on the street corners of Brooklyn and Pittsburgh and Chicago and Atlanta and Detroit, and they created beautiful harmonies. I want to tour with three other guys that have the same love for that music, and that is going to be, I that's just going to be awesome because I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to find my people in that sense, you know.
I think of the amount of kids out there that probably are wasting their talent because of the generation that they grow up in, almost to no fault of their own, kind of the way they're conditioned and trained.
Yeah,
Like we put such an importance on getting to the next level, baseball, blah blah blah. But I also say like the video games and does it's like the amount of you cherish your life, it seems like to me.
oh yeah.
And is the are all those things that come out of you because you're intentional with how you spend your time?
Yeah, I would definitely say it really is just being intentional. Every single day, like I wake up and I have ideas like of what I want to do. Like the other day, and just random stuff. Just like it seems like I am super blessed. And random things just they come to me. Like the other day, I went to my hitting facility and I made a TikTok with Bobby Witt Jr., like the number
Mm,
3 ranked player in the MLB, and
yep.
I got a signed bat by him. And on the way, Jesse Cole calls me and we're talking a little bit for some ideas. And I was manifesting like I was thinking about an idea that I wanted to tell Jesse. And I was like thinking about it so hard, and I was like, man, I wish Jesse would call me. And then he
Mm,
calls me like 20 minutes later.
man.
It's crazy. I do love the life that I live, and I only want to inspire people to, go out and try to do something different. And I also love, one of the things that I practice every day is just being a complimented person,
Mm.
and complimenting people, because everyone loves to hear someone complimenting them. And yeah, I just love being friendly. My JUCO coach described me this was the first time anybody described me as a happy-go-lucky guy, and I love that, because I'm a very happy person. I love, like, just being around other people. But at the same time, whenever I'm alone, I'm spending my time wisely. I'm grinding, editing videos. And my editing and posting is just, that's what takes up my day. Like, now that I'm a content creator and I put out so many videos a week, like, and I've built a following, I'm just I always have ideas.
And it's refreshing to know that people are receptive of what you're putting out there. I can imagine that's fuel for you. Do you sit in the position that you're in right now? Man, so much amazing life ahead of you. Do you um do you have fears? Is there anything that worries you, because I think it's important to make people, man, you're a human being, and
Yeah.
man, a special one, but you're like everybody else. Like, um, I'll be specific with a question. Number one, do you have fears? Like, with where you're at right now, are there things that you struggle with that you're overcoming?
I not necessarily. I mean, there's long-term fears. Like, I mean, I really, I can't say that I live like my life really fearful of anything. Honestly, I'm
Awesome.
ever since I decided to, like, turn my life around, and not in the sense of like doing anything bad, but like regular baseball to banana ball, just because if I was explaining it to like a caveman, like, I quit regular baseball because I speak three languages and I play 12 instruments, and I am the perfect candidate for a banana ball.
Man.
And but like, that's that realization that I had back in, it's probably February. Like, the Bananas had, like, just started their season, and 2025 has been a historic year, and
Yep.
it's no wonder that, like, I just started seeing them all the time on my social media, and I was like, man, this would make me be the best version of myself possible.
Wow.
I think that answers, like, I mean, it was probably your third question that we were talking about, and it really, it led on to more interesting nuggets of my mind. But this really just allows me to be the best person, the best version of myself possible. One that can involve and teach kids that, like, it's okay to be a band nerd and play baseball.
Amen.
It's okay to be, interested in magic. I was doing magic shows for 20, 30 people whenever I was 9 years old, and
That's
putting on
awesome.
like 45 to an hour, shows.
Man.
So yeah, I just preach, like, go out and do that, man. If your kid wants to crochet and knit, just, there are so many people that are losing these talents, and these are becoming lost arts,
Wow.
because it's so easy to just be entangled in that iPad as a kid. and
Yes.
and I don't know. I'm also a product of YouTube. I grew up watching YouTube videos on how to do stuff instead of mindless entertaining, like cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, I've just always been, watching YouTube videos on, how to throw a knuckleball. I spent so much time as a kid. I didn't even master it really until I was 11 years old. I think that was when I first threw it in game. And it took me 2 years of throwing it against a brick wall. I was always outside playing wiffle ball with my friends,
Yes.
and I'm glad that I'm like, man, I honestly do feel like the last generation of kids that's gonna have, like, those experiences of playing outside with your friends.
Yeah.
It's super sad to think about, but like, now
Wow.
you can go play in a virtual world with them, and talk to them from the comfort of their home.
Yeah. Um, I want to talk specific about baseball because baseball obviously plays a massive role in your life. You are
Yeah.
talented as a baseball player. You were at Weatherford. You were recruited by Weatherford. I'm sure there were other schools that wanted you as well. So I'm curious at the baseball angle. I'm like, what is a guy like you? What does the off season look like? What is the training like when you're just working on your craft of baseball? Like, what does that look like for you in the situation you're in right now?
It's really fun. I make vintage baseball videos at a training facility, and I remember I had this revelation in Macon, Georgia. I was at a Bacon game,
Oh
and the
yeah.
stadium's historic. The stadium was in the Bingo Long Traveling All Stars movie, which I actually have the book of right here.
That's
The
cool.
stadium was in 42. They used it for the Jackie Robinson movie, and I was sitting in the outfield along the fence, and I was like, man, it'd be funny if I captured, like, I'm thinking like really social media tactic, and I was like, man, it'd be funny if I captured irony by like dressing up in a vintage uniform and hitting at a new age facility, and bam,
Oh,
uh, probably 30 to 40 million views later, and
wow.
here I am, like, with 20,000 followers now. I've built a brand. I started out as just like, I had maybe 3,500 whenever I joined the visitors, and I overtook the leading visitors and the leading visitor and followers by like draft day basically, and it's crazy because I just had this idea. And pitching bullpens, like my first video that went viral of me doing that, I was throwing knuckleballs in a 1940s like wool uniform, and people
Let's
just think
go.
it's hilarious because um, I've cracked the code or I did. I'm continually trying to reinvent the wheel with my content,
Do,
which I can't wait to do.
I want to know more about that because you asked that, and there's going to be so many people that watch this to say, Fisher, what's the key, man? Like, what's the key to this social media game? Like,
Yeah,
I sit here and I listen to you, and I'm like, man, okay, we can't all be like you, but
true.
what gives us, if we're wanting to do something similar to what you're doing and we want to have the impact in terms of content creation, like what are the keys? What would you recommend, and what's your advice?
I uh I mean, man, I a lot of it I draw inspiration from just the showmen and the entertainers of the past. You have to
Mm,
create something that no one has ever seen before. But at the same time, you have to nowadays with social media, you have to capture people's attention within the first like 2.5 seconds. And it's so quick, especially on TikTok, Instagram. I really try to study social media for I would say at least 3 or 4 hours every week.
wow.
Where I actually go on YouTube, and I've been learning. I have like this content
Wow.
cycle of go on Instagram and look at viral hooks, like transitional hooks that just capture people's attention, and save all of those because I'm gonna be living in Savannah with three other dudes that are banana ballers, and it's going to be free content to have three people with phones doing that. Right now, I
Wow.
face a challenge of being with my family. I have two brothers that they're tired of me asking them to film for so many years. Like, they've been my personal videographers, and I need three other people that are going to be willing to grow. It's going to be awesome. So, and all those three dudes are just fantastic humans. So I document on Instagram. I scroll. We all doom scroll. It's not even really doom scrolling if you're trying to look for stuff to emulate.
That's right.
Um, and TikTok, that's where I get all my news and the viral videos. But YouTube, I still use like I'm a 9-year-old kid trying to find out more information. I learn on YouTube every single day. Like, at the end of the day, I put on something big, like informational about the Negro Leagues. Like, right now, I'm
Interesting.
collecting
Interesting.
clowns, like memorabilia. Like, I have all
That's
these
cool.
these vintage clown cards, and I'm reading all the books about them. I'm trying to be so undeniable on the mic this year, of historical. Like, Jesse asked me to be a historian of the team, and I'm taking that role very
Wow.
seriously.
A few more minutes here with you, Fisher. I so much appreciate your time. Let's talk real briefly about Jesse Cole. I'd be curious to know Jesse Cole, the brain, the owner behind Banana Ball.
Yeah.
What's one or two things that you've taken from him that you kind of said that you make your own and say, what's been some good advice or lessons maybe you've learned from him?
That's a great question, because there's so much to commend Jesse on. He's obviously we call him TB1. He's Top Banana One, because he is the guy that started all this. He is
Yeah.
the visionary. We all have so much respect for him, and the craziest thing about him is that he treats the janitor like the CEO.
Love that.
Every single minute of the day. He's extremely generous with his time too. You might wonder how someone's so busy and so highly coveted. Like he's one of the people. He's one of those people that people on LinkedIn, they just love him. People on Facebook, his story is so inspiring.
It is.
And he's a great man. He there are no strings attached. There is no ulterior motive. The banana ball is genuinely just one of the most wholesome things in the United States right now, and it's going to be global and it's going to be huge. And people they just don't, I don't know, they just don't want to watch 3 hours of people getting walked and mound visits. Like
it's the truth. And you know what, dude? It's the truth. In Fisher, like I really believe that this is where we're going with the game. Think about it. You had a chance. Like you had a chance to be the traditional guy.
yeah,
You basically shunned in not in a mean way, but you said, "Nah, I don't want that traditional way. I want this way." There are more coming. If you build it, they will come. That just came to me right there. But if you build it, they will come. Maybe you're the one that, like, one of these, you're one of the visionaries, along pioneers would be the word of saying, no, I want to do it this way. Do you see more of guys like you coming for that banana ball experience?
I definitely do. I get DMs from kids all the time, like
Crazy.
from 13 to 23, of guys that are like, man, like I love what you do, like your stick, like how did you think of it? I'm like, man, this is just me. This is authentic. Like I knew that if I waited 3 more years to go to college and probably go to a D1 school, and maybe get drafted, then there was probably a good chance that somebody would come into banana ball winding up with an old timey mitt and saying meow meow, and it just wouldn't be authentic, because like I know the music. I am obsessed with 1950s, 60s, and 70s music, doo wop, R&B, soul, Motown, like any song that like people just, I'm undeniable. Like I'm an encyclopedia of that music, and I wear suits all the time. Like I was wearing crazy colored suits in high school, almost probably 3 times a week, and people just were like, "That's Fisher, man." Like, you know, I'm not for everyone. If you're down in the dumps in life, like, don't come near me. I love spreading my energy and positivity to people. And yeah, I live I live to help others, and I want to be a role model and a pioneer for a new genre of pitchers called the comedic relief pitcher, because there's so many funny things that pitchers can do on the mound, and I'm going to show the world that you don't have to throw like for instance, baseball clowns of the past. There's a story of, I mean, I forgot who it was. I think it was Max Patkin, maybe. He gave up a home run to Joe DiMaggio, and as he was rounding the bases, he rounded the bases backwards, and like he just imitated him as he was doing his little home run trot. And they all used to tip their cap to the fans rounding third base.
Yep.
I remember Ted Williams, in his biography, he mentioned how they all used to just tip their hat towards third base. Like simple little nuances that no one else would know. I've read all these guys' biographies, like even the boring ones, like I don't just random baseball players. I love baseball history.
Finish with this, my friend Fisher Polydoroff. What a cool story, man. Finish with this. Some advice for the young generation coming up, because Baseball Forward is elevating the next generation. That's what we do. Give me some advice for the young guys trying to find themselves. What advice do you have for the young players coming up?
I would definitely say, man, the recruiting process is so it's super hard. I was lucky enough to be recruited like my sophomore year. I had a couple D1 offers, including Tulane, Pepperdine, Northwestern. Like I had these really cool offers sitting on the table for a while. And it's a lot of money to go to those schools. If you guys look up the tuition, it's like 75 grand and $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a D1. You don't have to be a D1 guy. There's so much opportunity in JUCO nowadays. NAIA ball. There is so much opportunity. Play the game as long as you can, and find the best fit for you. Because, if whenever you're sitting on that bench and you're watching others play in front of you, it's super super hard, especially if you're able. And injuries happen, and I feel for guys that get injured. And don't ever lose that spark. Find ways to keep yourself busy off the baseball field, because people, there's a lot of baseball players that are one dimensional out there. Don't be one of those guys.
Wow.
Like, have something that like, have a hobby or a talent that can impress someone, impress your wife, have a skill, develop a trade so that your bank account impresses your wife. Like, have something else besides baseball, that can provide in the future. Well, and mine just happened to be entertainment. I was born an entertainer. I love to talk, and I'm a Renaissance man.
You are. I need to know one last thing. What is your walkout song?
My walkout song, my staple, because this is a crowd pleaser and everyone knows this, is Shaboom by the Chords. 1954. Doo-wop was really, music was really slow. Rock and roll wasn't really a thing. And these five guys from Brooklyn started singing on the street corner, and they created Shaboom. It's a Life Could Be a Dream from Cars. And whenever Cars used that song, it blew up, and the people just love it. That one I sung in Savannah. It's a crowd pleaser. I love singing that one.
Oh man, what a joy speaking with you, my friend. Tell the audience, baseball forward audience, you know what? You guys know where to find him. Give us a Fisher Polydoroff. There's no one else that has a name like that. There's no one else that has a personality like that. That's the easiest guy to find. Go find him. Just like Kirk Signetti for Indiana says, Google him. You can find him. Give us a sign off, and then I'll take us out, Fisher.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Baseball forward, Ross, you are the man. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm Fisher Polydoroff and Old Knuckles. So long, fellas.
Baseball Forward, episode 91 of the Baseball Forward podcast. We'll see you guys soon.